Hannah's first husband's name was Jackson. She's been waiting all these years for the right person and couldn't get into a relationship. It generally ended with the first date, following which she was never called back. When she met Jackson, the world began to change colors. They had a wonderful marriage for almost 7 years. Hannah's spouse had a kid from their prior marriage, but she had no desire to become a mother. Hannah worked for a blinds firm, and the office occasionally had a corporate party. The men stated that they had reserved a camping site and that the party would be held there. There will be barbecue, beer, and something stronger. Will there be any fun contests? Hannah asked jokingly. There will be. One of the males gave her a wink. Hannah had a secret admirer at work named Henry. All the employees had long suspected that they were having an affair, which they both tried desperately to hide. He attempted unsuccessfully to reach her, but she was married and offered him little hope. Despite Henry's attractiveness, she thought she couldn't afford to cheat on her spouse since it's not fair. Will we invite our spouses and wives? Asked one colleague. She was told yes. Henry gave Hannah a tiny smirk, but she pretended not to notice. She notified her spouse at home that they had been invited to the party. Jackson was overjoyed. He liked corporate parties. He liked to be where there were a lot of people. Hannah, on the other hand, didn't. Socializing with people was difficult for her. Hannah's coworkers arrived at the campground on the appointed day. They were loud, chatting, and laughing. To get through the evening, the woman decided she needed a drink as soon as possible. Jackson quickly broke from her and joined the men preparing meat. Hannah checked to see whether Henry was present, and after she was certain he wasn't, she began to mingle with the other women. The cocktails flowed. Jackson and a few others became quite tipsy that night. Despite the fact that Hannah was almost certainly as intoxicated as her husband, she escorted him to the second floor and put him to bed. While she returned to the party, Henry walked over to her. He had a heavy odor of beer and tobacco smoke. Hannah liked the fragrance once it had been mixed with his cologne. "What do you want?" She murmured incoherently. "I want to make you a special gift." He leaned in close, and the heat of his breath burned her cheek. The woman began, "Henry, let's not." But he silenced her with a finger to her lips. "But you really want to. Why are you resisting?" The man grinned. He was correct. Hannah really wanted to. She envisioned Henry several times during intimate moments with her husband, and she occasionally awoke at night to her passionate imaginations. Hannah felt chills go down her back as the man brushed his fingers down her leg. She flinched and glanced about in terror. Maybe someone was observing them, but everyone was too busy minding their own business to notice what Hannah and Henry were up to. "While everyone is here, let's go to my place," he said in her ear. His words made the woman shiver. Hannah thought about it. She imagined herself in his bedroom. She agreed. This may be her only opportunity to be in bed with another man without anyone finding out. Following the intimacy, the woman gathered her belongings and dashed to the room where her husband slept on the bed. She promptly changed into a nightgown and went to bed with Jackson after ensuring he was sleeping. It was difficult to sleep that night. She tossed and turned, recalling their passionate embrace with Henry. She then fell asleep restlessly. She awoke in the morning shattered and with a hurting head. The entire house was still sleeping. Hannah went down to the first level, put the kettle on to boil, and decided to take a shower. She needed to wash away the remnants of the night before. When someone entered the bathroom, Hannah realized she had forgotten to close the door to the shower room. She peered out from behind the shower curtain, surprised to see her beloved. Henry had also spotted her. She just hoped he wouldn't come in behind the curtain. "I'll be right out," she shouted, trying to push the man out. Of course, all of her endeavors were futile. It seemed as if a mouse was attempting to move a mountain. Hannah submitted to him once again as he began kissing her. The pair enjoyed one another's company under the hot shower until Hannah heard the door open again. Jackson was standing there. He'd only just awoken. His head felt heavy from the previous night's cocktails, and his mouth tasted bad. Because his wife was not present, he went downstairs, where he also did not locate his beloved. He found her in the shower, and she wasn't alone. Her coworker was with her behind the curtain. Jackson couldn't recall his name. They didn't appear to have crossed paths with this individual until recently. Jackson stiffened. He was still a bit tired and inebriated, but as he saw what was going on, his anger flared up, and he hurled himself at his wife's boyfriend. Hannah screamed, begging them to stop. Other coworkers ran into the noise, splitting Jackson and Henry up. The deceived husband shouted profanities at his wife and her boyfriend. Several pairs of eyes were looking at Hannah. She was completely naked and defenseless. She was offered a towel. She ran out of the shower room and hurried to the bedroom, closing her eyes to escape this humiliation. When Jackson approached her, she saw an abrasion on his forehead and a bruise beneath his eye. She sobbed once again. Her husband yelled at her to get ready to go home. The woman complied. They drove in quiet the entire way, but Jackson was swearing so loudly at home that she was frightened her husband would have a stroke. She tried again and again to calm him down, but he just got angrier when she has just opened her mouth. The pair did not talk for 2 weeks. He slept on the hallway sofa while she slept in their bed. She was embarrassed of what she had done, and she had asked her husband to forgive her 100 times in that period, but he had stayed mute. It appeared to her that it was all over and that their marriage could no longer survive, but Jackson had other ideas. He spent the following 2 weeks deliberating about what to do next. He made a difficult but critical decision for the two of them. Despite the troubles that had befallen them, they should endeavor to keep their family together. Hearing this, Hannah sobbed and hugged her husband. She pleaded for pardon for her mistakes. Of course, she quit her job. She couldn't be in the company of those who had seen her shame. They continued to live together for several years, the first of which were quite tough. They both relived the moment inside them that broke them over and over again. Jackson eventually went without saying anything. When the woman arrived home from work, the flat was vacant. Hannah was abandoned. She never managed to have a fulfilling relationship. She didn't like all men, but she couldn't bring herself to do anything about it. It was horrible for her to be alone, but she endured it since she saw she had caused her own sadness. As it occurred, she was 38 years old and learning to live again, but alone. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story.